All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I think we have quite a few people that have joined. Again, as you're joining, I know we had a couple just join. Please just put your name in the chat and how you're using Roadmaps data right now. So today you are going to be led through Roadmaps data and reporting and how we're seeing partners use that data across the United States by myself, Michelle Palmer, and Liat Greenspan. And we're going to introduce ourselves a little bit so you know who's talking to you. But I am the Senior Director of Customer Success. I have been with New Classrooms Teach to One for 3.5 years almost now. Prior to that, I spent about 18 years working for schools directly as a math and science teacher or school leader, and also a district support coach for principals here in Denver. And so I'll pass it over to Liat.
Hey guys, I'm Liat Greenspan, and I've been with Teach One for about 10 years. Over the past decade, I've had the opportunity to work with multiple teams across the organization, and currently I'm a member of the program success team. My main goal is to ensure that both our schools and internal team members are well informed and fully understand all of our program features. So I'm really excited to be here today to walk you through some of our roadmaps features that can help prepare your math lessons and make the most of our platform.
Great. And just in case anybody's seen Liat's name, she is one of our wonderful Zendesk support. So anytime you send us questions or tickets, this is one of the members of the team that will be responding to you. Lots of knowledge. So please keep sending us questions and tickets in for us.
Thank you,
So
Michelle.
today we are going, of course, um, today we're going to be looking at a few specific areas of your portal. The first thing is the teacher dashboard. This was released in January, early February, but we still wanted to kind of dig into it a little bit further because we've got some amazing feedback and some suggestions on how teachers and leaders are using it right now. We're also going to talk about skill assignment. This is brand new, super exciting. Hopefully some of you have been able to assign pathways and play around with it, but definitely going to dig into that. And then also our reports hub. Some of the reports in the hub you probably are familiar with, but the actual hub itself is new, and we're going to dive into some of the new reporting features. Their wonderful progress report and detailed skill report that I've already seen a couple leaders last week. They're like, I am pulling this every day right now. I love this report. So we will dive into that. And then, as I'm sure all of you are aware, the school year is wrapping up. It's almost summer. I'm sure some of you are counting the minutes, hours, and days until that happens. But we do have some information about our system rollover, what that looks like for the summer, as well as some support options for you all. We will pause throughout for questions and answers sessions, but you can also use the chat at any point. Drop any questions, wondering, ahas, anything you would think would benefit other people joining us. Please feel free to pop that in the chat. So we are going to start with skill assignment.
Great. So I want to share how skill assignments can really empower you as educators to create more meaningful learning experiences for students. So skill assignments let you tailor activities to fit your classroom goals and the unique needs of each student. For example, right after a lesson, you can use skill assignments for exit slips to quickly check if your students understood what was covered. And it's a great way to make sure everyone's on track before you move forward. You can also use skill assignments for pre-learning activities. Before you dive into a new topic, you can assign a skill that students will need to know. And this can help them feel prepared and confident when they start something new. It's also really great for reinforcement and review. If a student needs a little extra practice, or if you want to give homework that targets their needs, you can assign specific skills for them to work on at home. And it's a really great way to reinforce learning and help close any gaps. So in addition to assigning a skill, you can also assign a skill pathway. So assigning a skill pathway is a powerful way to guide students through a structured progression of their prerequisite and related skills, leading to the mastery of a target skill. So it's a great tool to guide students through a series of connected skills, especially when a concept is a bit more complex or requires building up from the basics. So with pathways, you can do multiple things. You can scaffold learning by guiding students through essential and prerequisite skills, build a strong foundation. You could ensure skill progression by having students follow a logical sequence of related skills for a deeper understanding. And you can also support long-term learning plans that require progression through interconnected skills over time. I'm going to pause there to see if there are any questions. Again, this is one of our newest features that we released, and one that we are super excited about. So I hope you are able to use the assign a skill or assign a skill pathway functionality to really target your learning needs.
Well, while we wait, just in case people are thinking of their questions, I am going to drop the article about skill assignments that you can find on our teacher resource hub in the chat, just in case you want a little more information. If questions aren't coming up right now, please know that you can schedule time with any one of us, that we can do a deep dive into what this assigning feature could do for your implementation, and really start planning out next year, and how you might want to use it and align it to your tier 1 instruction.
Yeah, I see Jonathan asked us a question in the chat, so let me read that out loud. Can you tell me when I would use this as a teacher? Sure. There are a lot of different scenarios you can use this as a teacher. The one that I do want to highlight is if you notice a student is not passing a skill, you can assign them a skill pathway to make sure that they are getting the building blocks to that skill, those prerequisite skills. So when you assign a pathway, a student is led through the progression of those essential and helpful skills that lead to that target skill. So that is one way that you can use it that we've seen that it's very effective.
I would say that right now we have illustrative math alignment within our portal. And so we do have some schools that jumped on the skill assigning immediately, and really wanted to start working on units 6 and 7, which are really hard units, getting into quadratics depending on what grade level. Um, but they are assigning the pathways because they know that students are coming in and don't have all the prerequisite skills for those target grade level skills in those units. And so they're really progress monitoring where the students are in their pathway.
Yeah, we've also noticed that teachers are using assign a skill to just assign a specific skill that they taught that day at the end of a lesson to make sure that students really understand the skill that they were taught that day. And if not, the teachers can see that and have an intervention session with that student and really help them out if they need it.
Which actually leads me into the next section, which is the teacher dashboard. So I just wanted to share a quote because I was at a school and the teacher said, I love this new dashboard. It's really easy to track and see where students are. I know this specific teacher is pulling up the dashboard every day and really looking at a couple different pieces that I'm going to walk you through. If you are a site admin or a teacher, you do have the dashboard view. Network admin, I just want to put out there, you don't have this teacher dashboard view. So if you have any questions or want to see what it looks like, please reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through it so you know exactly what your teachers are seeing. Okay, so the first part of the teacher dashboard is the daily snapshot. And so this really ties into what Liat was just saying when teachers are assigning skills as an exit ticket. This daily snapshot is going to show them immediately how students did on that exit ticket. It will show you any of the students that have attempted a skill challenge, how they did on the skill challenge. You can see here in the red, they need to keep learning, the yellow almost there, or the green they've passed. And each one of these is clickable. So it'll give you a copy paste list of students that if you do need to pull, like I assigned an exit ticket on functions, I see that 20% of my students didn't pass. I can click on that 20% get the names of students and pull a small group the next day. So it really, really does this daily snapshot. I love it because it shows you how the students did and really impacts your teaching for the next day. The next part is the weekly snapshot. And so this is really about the goals that we've set with a lot of you. Most schools, I would say, are at 2 skills a week that they set for students. There are a couple of schools that I've talked to that have 3 or 4 skills a week that they are having students pass. But this is a really quick way to progress monitor your goals for either your classes or your students. So this really shows you um, if students have passed 1 skill, they've passed 2 skills, or 3 or more skills. Again, everything in here is clickable, so you can copy paste lists of these students, which hopefully will make it a lot easier to pull targeted groups. I would use a weekly snapshot if I see that by Thursday, I have a portion of my students that have only passed 1 skill and they have a 2 skill minimum, that I'm checking in with them to make sure they understand they need to try one more before Friday comes around. The other section I really like is this 3+ skills attempt. So one thing that we really know about students is, well, and myself and adults, but once you've tried something 3 or more times, the frustration and the motivation, well, the frustration increases, motivation decreases. And it's really hard to get students engaged in that skill. So I really watch this list and push in when students are struggling with a skill and have tried 3 times. They may need to have some of that small group work, one-on-one support. Sometimes when I conference with students, I say, how come you've tried this skill 6 times? What resources did you use? And I quickly find out that they need to try a few more practice problems or maybe watch the worked example video. But that portion, the skill challenge attempts on the teacher dashboard, super, super important to monitor. Again, we really want to get into the business of motivating and engaging students. So pushing in and helping when they're at that 3 is very important. So the last piece at the bottom here is the skill challenges attempted per student per week. And so that can be toggled on each week. And again, what it does is lists all of your students' names, and then it tells you how many skills that they passed, how many and they've attempted, and the total number of skills. So it'll give you a really good idea. Are they meeting that 2 skills a week, and what are those skills? So anything you see in here in blue font is clickable and will be copy paste lists that are accessible to you. One thing that I do want to go back to is that at the top for site admin and teachers, you are able to filter this. So it will default to your whole group of students that you either teach or that are in your building, but you can filter it by class, by grade level, to see where each group of students are. So I do really like all the ways you can filter our reports. We'll be discussing that more and more as we go through them, but this is one way you are able to definitely filter and narrow the data you're progress monitoring. So I am going to pass it over to dig into some more reports, but if you have any questions about the teacher dashboard, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm also, again, going to link the article in the chat that discusses the teacher dashboard in detail, and we're always happy to help meet with you and your team to better use these resources.
Great. Okay, so let's move on to the Reports Hub. So the Reports Hub is your go-to page for all things reporting and also exporting. So as a teacher, you can generate reports for any class you own or are rostered in. And if you're an administrator, you can generate reports for any class in a site you have access to. So after selecting Generate Report, you'll be prompted to provide a few details about what you want in the report using the filters that are provided. And the best part is that while your report is downloading, you don't have to sit and wait. You can keep working and navigate to other pages on the site. And once your report is ready, you'll get a notification and you'll find your new report in the Downloads folder. I also just want to mention a quick note on the format of the reports. So the diagnostic reports and the skill assessment history reports, they're going to download as CSVs. And then the detailed skill report is an XLSX file. So you can open these reports in Google Sheets and Excel and Numbers or whatever spreadsheet tool you guys prefer. Now let's dive into the specific reports that are available in the Reports Hub. So first, there's the diagnostic summary report, and this report shows you at a glance how many students in your class placed out of each skill on their diagnostic for the selected roadmap. So this is a great way to see which skills your students have already mastered and where they might need extra support. Then there's the unfinished diagnostics report, and this one is super useful for keeping track of student progress and completing the diagnostic. So it gives you a list of students in your class or classes who haven't submitted the diagnostic yet, and that way you can use that information to know exactly who might need a little reminder or a little extra help getting started. Great. Our next report is the detailed skill report, and this gives you a clear picture of how each student is performing on every skill for the selected roadmap. It's organized by unit or by standard, so you can easily see strengths and areas for growth. What I really like about it is how it also summarizes class-wide performance. So you can zoom out for an overview, or you can zoom in to focus on a particular student, class, or even a single unit or standard. It's really a fantastic way to get both the big picture and the details that you need. Um, and now I'm going to pass it to Michelle to look at an example of how Miss Carter uses the detailed skill report for her 7th grade math intervention class.
Great, thank you. And I'm again going to drop in the chat. This is how to navigate the Reports Hub, just in case you want to bookmark any of these resources as you're using these reports on your own. So yes, we are going to talk about Miss Carter. She is a 7th grade teacher, one of our partners. Don't worry, names have been changed to protect everybody involved, but it is one of our partners. And she is able to see her students actually every day for 45 minutes for intervention. So this specific school has identified students for intervention using a diagnostic assessment at the beginning of the year, and then she works with them daily. Um, they do use a different tier one curriculum in their core math classes. And so she likes to really look at what are they doing in their core class, and then how am I supporting them in this intervention. Um, like most of us in the teaching field, she's experienced many students coming in well below grade level and missing very foundational skills that they need to be successful on their 7th grade curriculum, but also being prepared for algebra. So her objective is really that she is targeting some of those foundational gaps that she's seen and supporting progress towards the grade level goals. Um, so the first thing that Miss Carter does is she downloads a detailed skill report that you all just saw from Roadmaps. She opens it in Excel. And again, this is one of our teachers that immediately loved this, because before this report, she was kind of pulling it herself and making her own spreadsheet. And now she doesn't have to. It's saving so much time and planning. But she is able to look at her different classes. At the tabs at the bottom show her this is period 1, this is period 2. But she looks at the 3 columns, really honing in on the skill code and name, students' status, and that's really going to show, did they demonstrate this? And demonstrated can mean that they placed out of it on the diagnostic, or they passed it on a skill challenge. Did they attempt it and didn't pass it, or have they not started yet? So she's really quickly able to see how students are doing, and then the student's name. So it's very organized for each student. What she also mentioned that she really loves about it is you can see the student's whole roadmap. So if it was an algebra class, you can see all 148 skills and exactly what students have placed out of or passed or are continuing to work on. So very detailed report. She does notice some trends as she pulls this report. The first is that 7 of her 35 students attempted but did not pass multiply and divide integers. So that's one trigger and flag for her. And then the other one was that a lot of students in her class didn't even start distributed property. And she knows that those are foundational skills that students are going to need to tackle many different seventh grade skills. So she immediately starts focusing on these two skills. The first thing that she does is divide them into groups and plan for those groups. So she's going to have a small group that will be working on multiply and divide. And she's actually going to use the small group materials that are provided in the teacher resource. And she actually uses the peer-to-peer for some, but for this one, she's going to use a small group because there's about 7 students. She also then develops a mini lesson for the distributive property, since that was quite a few more students. It was almost one whole class, so she will be teaching just a smaller lesson for that. And then she's able to target this instruction, use the teacher dashboard to monitor any new skill challenges taken that day, so she knows exactly what to step into the next day. And then by the end of the week, she does pull the detailed skill report again, so she can compare where they were at the start of the week and where they were at the end of the week with skills passed, or where she may need to push into. If you would like any more information about like the small group activities or the collaborative materials, please reach out to us because we do have quite a few ready to go resource materials that are super helpful when you've identified small groups or peers that need a little additional support. What Ms. Carter has done by using the detailed skill report is really having targeted just in time support and intervention for her students. She's also showing that she is personalizing even outside of roadmaps, which already personalizes for the students, and that she's making data-driven instructional decisions. So she's really adjusting what her students need based on what the data is telling her. So just a really great example from one of our teachers who are using the teacher dashboard a lot, as well as a detailed skill report. So I'm going to stop there because that was a lot. Please feel free to pop in any questions about the Reports Hub, the detailed skill report, or how we see schools using it right now in the chat so that we can answer those.
Okay, so Rosa asked, how often should I pull the detailed skill report? And the detailed skill report is, first of all, that's a great question. The detailed skill report is updated immediately after students complete an assessment or if they retake a diagnostic. So we say it's a good idea to download the report whenever you're planning for the next lesson. But you can also use a combination of the reports that we're talking about today to really get the information that you need.
I think personally, the teacher dashboard with the detailed skill report is what I would use. And kind of like what Ms. Carter had told us, she's pulling it on Mondays and Fridays and then using the teacher dashboard in between. So that's a pretty good cadence. We're really, really excited about the detailed skill report. And we're hoping it really helps with planning, even at the admin level, to see where all of your students are in their roadmap journey, but also to impact that day-to-day lessons. Oh, that's a great question that just popped up, Rosa. Thank you. So during parent-teacher conferences, there's a couple different reports you can use. The detailed skill report is really important, again, because it shows their whole roadmap and which skills that they placed out of on the diagnostic. It'll have that little PO on it. It'll show any of the skill challenges they've taken and their scores on those. So that would be one I would share with the parents, but I also would share something we're getting ready to go over shortly, but the progress page, because the progress page has an individual snapshot for each student, which includes the percentage of their roadmap. And I know Liat's going to talk more about that, but I think teachers and parents would be really interested in that snapshot to know where their students are. Great questions. And if you need any resources for conferences, we do have some resources for student-led conferences where they can pull up their own portal as well as some reports to send home. So please reach out to us so we can support you in that.
Okay, so this last report on the Reports Hub is the Skill Assessment History Report. So this one tracks student performance on skill assessments over time, and it shows you each student's attempts and outcomes for every skill. And it's organized by students, so it's easy to spot who's making progress, who's showing persistence, and which skills might need a little extra support. It gives you valuable insights to help guide your instruction and provide targeted support where it's needed the most. And now we can go on to the progress page.
All right. I got just really excited about it because it's amazing.
I mean, it's great. It's a really great updated progress page. So let's talk about it. Okay, so this progress page has key features for tracking student progress, engagement, and frustration levels. Um, We're going to start with the snapshot tab. So the snapshot tab gives you a quick overview of student performance. It has a progress bar, last login details, and it also has the ability to drill down for skill level insights. It's a great way to see, like, at a glance how your students are doing and where you might want to focus your attention. The next tab that we're going to focus on in the progress page is the growth and engagement tab. So here you'll find growth metrics and engagement indicators, and that makes it easy to spot students who are progressing, who are struggling, or maybe that they're disengaged. I really love how quickly you can identify who might need a check-in or some extra encouragement using this growth and engagement tab. The next tab is the Roadmap Progress by Grade tab, and this tab highlights skill completion across grade levels within the selected roadmap. So you can track class-wide progress and spot trends at a glance. This tab is super helpful for seeing how your whole class is moving forward within the selected roadmap. And then lastly, the Classes tab summarizes skills as support, target, or both, making it easy to pinpoint skill gaps, to plan interventions, and to celebrate student achievements. There's two other things that I want to point out on the left-hand side. The first is yes, Michelle got it, the little the triangle, the orange triangle. So that indicates when a student is on a different roadmap than the one that you selected. So if your students are supposed to be on the sixth grade roadmap, let's say, and you see that pop up, you can see that the student might be working below that grade level, or maybe that student is working on algebra or higher. And then the other indicator, the red one, indicates frustration levels. So you can see that while the numbers are higher, their frustration levels are higher because they are attempting more skills and they are not passing them. So these are just great indicators to look at to check in with your students to see if they need more help or if they need more guidance to figure out which roadmap to go on to.
And I just wanted to add, because I think as I'm going in and supporting schools and helping with classes, one of the things that I'm seeing is that students have this idea that they need to go onto their lowest roadmap, finish all those skills, then go to the next roadmap. And that's not actually how roadmaps is designed. They should be on their enrolled grade roadmap. That roadmap will catch any of those prerequisite skills from fourth grade, from fifth grade, from sixth grade, that they need to be working on towards grade level and towards algebra. So please make sure that your students are really working on their enrolled grade roadmap, unless they are, again, like we have a few seventh graders at one of our schools that are in algebra. So they're actually in seventh grade, but working on the algebra ladder. That's totally fine. We just don't want them going backwards when they should just be on their grade level ladder.
That's a really great point to mention, Michelle. Okay, so now Michelle is going to walk us through an example of how Mr. Thompson uses a snapshot tab to plan and monitor his math lesson.
Great, thank you. So Mr. Thompson, one of our ninth grade teachers, again, name has been changed to protect his identity, uses Teach to One. He actually has a combined block, so it's a longer period of time where he's actually the tier 1 instructor as well as the intervention support after tier 1. But one of the things that he has reported he really loves using is that snapshot tab on the progress page to really get a good idea of the progress and engagement of the students. One thing that we've known in high school is that you really got to be on top of the engagement piece, seeing when did they last log in, what are they working on. So that is why he really has appreciated the progress page. One thing that he did notice is that students were, when he clicks on the progress bars, he's able to see that they either haven't started a skill, so it's grayed out. They need to keep learning. They tried a skill challenge, but it's in red, so they didn't pass it. Almost there in yellow, or demonstrated. Again, demonstrated is placed out on the diagnostic or passed through a skill challenge. It can also include inferred, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit later. And then he's able to see the last login. Again, this is really showing him he has set expectations in his class that students are passing 3 skills a week, so not just 2, because they are prepping for different end of the year assessments, and he really wanted them to be able to get to 3 skills a week. So he wants to see when they're logging in, and this report does that for him. One thing he notices is right away is that one of his students has not logged in the whole week. And he knows that with attendance, the student's been there, he's been supporting, assumed the student was logging in, but realized when he pulled this up that they didn't log in all week. So this is a really quick flag to re-engage a student, have a one-on-one conversation, and make sure they understand what their goals are and what they need to be doing during that time. The other thing is that he realized in one of the bars, the progress bars that he saw, there was a big section of yellow, meaning that the student was almost there on multiple skills. And so just really wanted to get an idea of what resources the student is using. Are they watching the worked example video? Are they trying practice problems? What kind of supports do they need to really start passing those skill challenges? I actually know that in the scenario, the student started using our Spanish version videos that are under the additional resource tab. And that has really helped her to start passing some of these skills. The other thing that he notices is that with those goals that he set, they were pretty ambitious with 3 goals or 3 skills passed each week. That some of the students, about half of them were off track, and he really wanted to be pushing that. So we helped talk through some incentives and really motivate the students to make those goals. The other thing that he flagged really quickly is that one of his students was on the 7th grade roadmap instead of the algebra. And so he saw that little icon pop up and didn't understand why they were on their 7th grade algebra, or in 7th grade instead of algebra. Had a conversation. The student was just trying to complete some skills to make that goal, but really, again, emphasize that they need to be on their algebra roadmap, and that will grab those 7th grade skills that they need help on in that algebra roadmap. So some really great quick flags for this teacher to push in and support. Some follow-up and planning that he was able to take from this was a quick reteach of a skill. It was just a mini lesson. He actually went in and used the resources under the skill for that lesson. He did a couple small groups because there were a couple skills that the students needed to know for the tier 1 instruction. And he noticed that a handful of them weren't there yet. So he pulled a couple small groups. And then he does do individual conferences. So he's actually set a goal for himself that he meets with every one of his students over the course of 2 weeks. So the students know that they're going to have an individual conference with the teacher at least once in 2 weeks. He also, I know I'm going back to the other reports, but he also does use that detailed skill report. Again, pulls it at the end of each week just to kind of get a quick view of where the students are. He also references that the report when he's having those one-on-one conferences with students, so they know exactly how many they have left. But again, the impact is really great here. He's having targeted student engagement, really shifting instruction quickly to meet the students' needs. And then he's able to differentiate and push in support based on what the data is showing him. So really great use of multiple pieces of the report and then a couple different reports as well. So I'm actually going to go back and pause there before I talk about end of the year, because I think there may be some questions in the chat, and I want to make sure we answer anything else about the progress page because it's a lot.
So Kara's question was, how do I see the results of a student's diagnostic? So you can download the detailed skill report, and in the detailed skill report, you'll see the skills where a student placed out of. That's highlighted in green with PO inside. And then you can see that for each one of your students.
I'm also going to add the link for the progress page. I think a lot of after students take the diagnostic, a lot of schools are using the last tab. Let me go back to it. They are using the roadmaps by grade because once the students take the diagnostic, it will show you how many pre-fourth grade skills did they place out of, how many fourth grade, how many fifth grade, and you can kind of get a picture of where largely the gaps are and where they need some support. So after the diagnostic, I would definitely check this report as well. Please keep putting questions in there. I am going to go forward. So the end of year, yay! It's almost it. Summer, end of year. I know we used to have a, a countdown, but we do have a rollover. So July 1st, all of roadmaps will roll over. This means that this will trigger a re-rostering of teachers and students. Good news is we are going to be doing that for you next fall. So please reach out to our support and we will help with rostering. We're actually going to be sending secure emails for you to send us the rosters back, just to make sure we're protecting students' identities. Also, if you have any questions about this rollover, have students working through the summer, maybe on roadmaps, different things like that, please reach out to us as soon as possible to let us know, so that we can work with you on the rollover for next year. There's a few suggestions that I would really push for the summer is one, have all of your teachers or your site admin download the detailed skill report for each class. So you have the skills for every student. I also really suggest, and this is a shameless plug for myself right now, setting up your onboarding for the fall so we can start using the data at the end of the year to really plan for what this implementation is going to look like next year, and what additional supports you all may want or need for that. And then at any point, please feel free to reach out and schedule time with our team. We are really, really excited to dive into data, do an end of the year deep dive with you and your teaching team. And again, really start thinking about what that looks like for next year. We're also, because we know the reports hub is new, the progress page is new, and assigning skills is new, we are happy to go into that a little bit more with your specific implementation, and how that can be helpful and used for you all. So please don't be shy, schedule time with us. You can put a ticket in using the question mark on your portal, or you can reach out to us and we will find time in your schedule. We really like to work around your schedules because we know those are packed. But just one other thing before questions is that you do have a couple different things coming out in June. The first is going to be your last newsletter of this school year. So that will also describe for you the rollover that's happening. And it will start talking about the fall and planning for that, rostering, onboarding, things like that. And school leaders and admin leaders, you will also be receiving your end of year monthly data report. That will be a cumulative document showing all of your classes, all of your students, their pace, their readiness, and their skills passed. So you'll have a lot of data at the end of this year to go over. So again, please schedule time with us. We are happy to do that deep dive with you. So if there are any questions, concerns, anything else you want to see about reports or discuss, we have wonderful teachers and leaders here with us. So if anybody wants to say how they're using a report, that would be great. But I just really wanted to open up the last few minutes for questions, any needs that you all have. And thank you so much, Liat, for the wonderful detailed descriptions of each of the new features.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like everybody is on their way out. I hope you all enjoy your lunch and have a wonderful rest of the school year. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.